Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be attempting to recreate this timeline. I came across this and I thought, okay, it would be interesting. So I'm going to be trying to do this for the first time and see if I'm going to be able to make it work. I have some ideas on how this was created. I can see that this makes use of sticky position, and what I'm seeing here is I have a section here. And so these are different sections. So this sticks, and then when this comes up, that goes up and the next one sticks. So I'm going to be trying to recreate this in Bricks. So first I'm going to add a section, and then this container I'm going to just call it TL container, the timeline container, and inside there I'm going to add a block. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to add columns. So let me just go here and add 2 columns, and for this one is going to be the date container, and then this is going to be the contents container. For this date container, let's see, I will have another div. I think I should have another div, and then alright, so now what I'm going to, let me just go ahead and give this class TL container, and I'm going to give this a class of TL date container, and then for this I'm going to just call it TL content container. Now I'm going to drop in, I'm going to insert a, I think, what should it be? So I want to have, so I already have one here, so I'm going to insert a div because I want it to wrap around this, okay, so I want it to be a div, so I'm going to insert a div, and that div is going to be the date inner wrap. I'm going to give it a class of TL date inner wrap, and for this I'm just going to drop in a heading, and not necessarily that shouldn't be a heading, it should just be a normal text. So I'm going to drop it a basic text, and I'm going to just change that to 2000, yep, the year. And let me just give it a class of TL date text or year, and I'm going to drop another text that will be for the month. I'm going to give that a class of TL what was this? This was let's clean that out. Did I give that a class? For Christ's sake, I did not. So let me turn off this. None of the classes registered. Was I writing it in somewhere wrong? Okay, so let's start again. So I'm going to give this a class of TL. Yeah, we have oh dear. What I was doing was to write it in the search bar. Okay, so I'm going to call this TL container. Okay, that class is added. Then this is going to be TL date container, and then this is going to be TL date inner wrap. Okay, and then this is going to be the TL year, and this is going to be the TL month. Okay, for the year I want to give it want to make sure that the class is selected. I'm going to give it a typography of 48, and then for this one, I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna select that. That's just gonna be the normal one. So the first thing here is September. I think the size should be like 14. So I'm just gonna write there September. And this line height seems to be a bit much, and I think we should make this something like 50, maybe 56, and reduce the line height to 1.3. I think that's about it. And the font weight could be like 600, and this September is okay like that. Maybe I should just make it 500. Okay. And for this one, we have this here, and we have this here. So so I'm gonna bring this one, just make sure I select that. I'm gonna bring it to a line to the right, and that is gonna be at the middle. And these two, we need these and these to align to the middle of the parent. So because yep, so we need it to be at the middle. So I'm going to just make sure this is at the center, and then I'm going to give it a gap. It's 20, let's say 50. I can't really see it, so let me just give it a background color to see temporarily. Okay, and this, I want to give this a background color to see temporarily. Okay, so we have that gap there, and this one moves away from the, yep, so that gap is where we have this middle line, so this moves away. So for this one, I want this to be wider. So make sure I'm selecting this class. Let's say width of 100, 200, how about 300? Okay, so that is just a bit away. Okay, now I want to have that line, so let me, yep, I want to have that line. So I'm going to select this TL container, and I want to use the before, and for that before, I'm going to give it a contents like that, and let me just put something there. Okay, and then I'm going to make it I think it's going to make it absolute, and because everything was aligned to the center, it's going to automatically stay at the center, so no need to mess with the left and the right positioning. And I want to give it a width of 2 pixels and a height of 100%. Let me take away those. Okay, and how about, we're not seeing it because I think there's no background color, so just gonna give it a background color of gray, or let me just select this default color, something like this. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so let's see. So we have that right at the center. The next thing I want is to have this line. So you see this line aligns to the top, and for that I'm going to use the date container, and I'm also going to use the pseudo element before. I think yeah, I could use after, so let me still use before, so I can know everything was before. And first thing is to make sure you add that parenthesis, sorry, the apostrophe there for the content, and let me just give it a background, so once we edit we can see it. And I always like giving it a content to see, make sure that it's already there, so I'm just going to remove that just to confirm. And for this we will need the width, the height to be 2 pixels, and then the width will be, let's try 100. Okay, the layouts is gonna be position absolute, top 0. So yep, so we have it, but we need it to move in and to like this. We need it to touch the top of this. So now this gap was 50, so half of the gap is 25. Yep, the gap was 50, and I gave that on the ID, so I'm just going to remove that and make sure I give it on the class. So that will bring this one, the before. So I'm going to go back there, and that's going to make it a right. So I'm going to give it a right of -25. Okay, so -25. So we wanted to move -25 into the right, so it's going to align to the middle of this, because the gap was 50. So -25 makes that to align. Yeah, so that gives us about that. 100 is about it. Okay, it's not too far away. Then I'm going to select this, and I think for the date inner, I think I'm going to move it up a little bit. At this point, I'm going to take off this color, so I'm just going to remove that color from here and here. So let me select this and move it up like that. Okay, I'm just eyeballing it, so -35 pixels. Okay, now here I'm going to drop in an image here. So let me drop in an image. Alright, that image there, I'm going to give it a class of TL image, and but of course I'm not working on that class yet, in case I need to. So I'm going to select actually I've already downloaded this images, so I'm just going to select that image. Okay, so you can see that line grows, and I'm going to drop in a heading and a text. So I'm going to drop in a heading and a text. That heading should be at the top, so this is going to be TL title, I think, and you're just going to make this TL body. So it's going to be the text, and for this I want to give it a gap, row gap of 50. Nope, that's too much. 10. Yeah, maybe 20, but this still needs to have a padding top, a margin top of say 20, maybe more. Yep, something like that. I think that's what we have there. Let's make it 30. Okay, so I'm just gonna copy this lorem ipsum there, and for this text is smaller, so I'm gonna select that and give it a font size of 14. 16 should do, and I want to paste this lorem ipsum there. Alright, I think this, something is wrong. So pasting that directly brings in the HTML elements, tags and all, so I'm just gonna paste that in here. And what's that? Alright, okay, so I think that's the basic. I'm not going to bother with this. We just want to focus on the main functionality of the timeline. So so the next thing I want to do is to duplicate this. So I'm going to just duplicate this. So obviously now we need a padding at the bottom, so good thing we have a class on this, so we can apply that bottom padding. So I'm just going to make it like say 5 rem. 5 rem is not enough. Make it, here they have very big padding, you can see, so let's make it like 12. 15. Okay, wow, that's a lot of padding. 180, so I'm going to make it like 180. Let's leave it at 15. Okay, 15 is okay. And so we have that. I'm going to change this to 2001, and maybe just change this. I'm going to duplicate this again, change this to 2002, change this to something else, I don't know. Okay, so to make this stick, I'm going to select this date container and make sure I'm selecting the class, so it's going to affect all of them. I'm going to set the position to sticky on the top to 0, so it sticks. Okay, good. Let's see. So, but what we have there, it seems the top is not 0, so let's see. Top, let's try first 100. Okay, 100 seems to be good. Okay, so I'm going to save that and preview on the front end. Okay, so that works. Okay, so I don't want this line to cut off here. It stays at the bottom, but it doesn't really matter. It could cut off depending on if so if I don't want that, I could just set the bottom margin of the section to 0. I think that's just it. So it's going to flush at the bottom of the section. Okay, so what next? This moves apart. You know, there's a big gap here. So on that gap is now it's about the same width as this. Okay, it's not exactly the same width because so let's see. This was this after was I gave it 100. Let's see. Before, yep, it was 100 width. So I'm going to give this contents a right padding of 100 pixel. I want to make sure that I'm working with the class. It would be a shame if I did not give that a class. This has, I didn't assign a class to it. That should have been TL container, TL content. Yeah, that should have been content container. Yep. Hopefully I haven't made any edits to it yet, except the row gap, which yep, should have been on the class, but let me assign that padding 100 pixel to the right. Let's see. Okay, that's really ruins everything. That really ruins everything. So why would the padding here affect this? So I'm going to remove it. Padding. Why is it ruining something there? So if I give it 100 padding, how do I make this to? So that I shifted. So let's see. Can we salvage that? Let me see what is going on here. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can help that. This was the before, which was a width of 100, and it was the right of, so if I make that right 50, yep, let's make it 50. Let's see. I'm not sure how that will work out in terms of responsiveness. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at -25 the way it was, and then I'm gonna remove this padding. instead of giving it a padding, the best what we would do is to would have been to wrap this, all of this. So let me delete these other ones first, and I'm gonna wrap this with a block or with a div. So I'm gonna wrap with a div because I really don't need it to be full width. And then I'm gonna move all this inside, and then I'm gonna make the width of that div. So I'm gonna just call it TL content inner wrap. Okay, that's the inner wrap of the content. And right now I think this will be opportunity to remove that row gap from the ID and place it on the class, since we have one now. So for this inner wrap, we're gonna make it a width of, instead of it being, so it's gonna be 100%. Now we want it to be 100% minus 100 pixels because we want it to be the same width as this minus 100. This is 25, so minus 70. So we're gonna make it minus 75. So because half of the gap here is 25, so if we make this, we make it we want it to be exactly the same distance from the center. You know, the width of the line and the gap should be the same. So that's gonna give us 75, but we need to calculate it. So so let me just, so it's going to be a width of just want to do calc 100% minus 75 pixel. It's nothing is happening. Okay, I'm going to just copy that and delete that. Nothing is happening there. Didn't I give it a class? I gave this a class of TL inner wrap, TL content. Wow, where did that go? I call it inner wrap, and let's just give it a width of, let's say 50. Okay, just to be sure that the width is working. So I'm gonna give it a width of that, what I copied, calc. Alright, so you need to keep a space. Now it's shifting towards this side, so I'm going to give it a left margin of auto, so it moves away. Okay, so that works. That's better than what we had before, because the other one was shifting this apart. So now this is a better solution. I'm going to save it. Let's see. Yep, we have it. We got it. Yeah, that's it. So at this point I can now duplicate this. Yeah, I can change this to can change that to 2021, can change this to 2022, and yeah, so I have 1, 2, 3 of them. So let's save that. Let's look at this, 2021, 2022. Alright, so you see us here, 2021, 2022. So you can keep adding. I think the beautiful thing about this is we can actually make this a loop. This can work as a loop item, because it's the way I'm building it here. It's independent of each other, so each one is a different container. So that would work well in a loop. Okay, so you could use this for posts. Put maybe the post dates and all that. So it will really be a nice way to lay out maybe posts in a timeline. Okay, let me just adjust this. Okay, but we haven't done the responsive, so I think that's very important. So let's move to the responsive state. Let me increase this to 1000 so I can see the height. So at this point it's still okay, but at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this dead container, and the first thing I will do to it is to make sure it is not static. So it's not going to be static. I'm going to give it a margin bottom of, let's say, 20 pixel, maybe 30. And I'm going to go to the after or to the before, and I'm just going to set the width to 0 so we won't see it. And I'm going to align, I think, yep, does it have something here? So if I align this to the, let's see, did we have, what we have? Yeah, we aligned it to the right. So here, 1000. Here I can align it to the left, right? Yeah, it works. I thought it wasn't gonna work. I can align it to the left or to the center, but let's take it to the left. And for this, I'm going to reset the width of that inner wrap to 100%. Okay, and for the container, I'm going to go to the before and set the width to 0 so we don't see it. So yep, so we have our regular card here. I mean, we could have done something maybe more funky with that. Let's see. So here, instead of, now they don't have, I checked, they don't have the responsive, theirs is not responsive, so that's why I didn't bother to check. So you can see that they didn't work on the responsive. So what I think of doing is, instead of making that with 0, I'll leave it, but I will go and change the left to 0 so it stays there. But then I'm going to go to and set the padding here to, like, say 20%, maybe 30 pixel, so you can see that. And then for this one, what I did was set it to, I think, the before, set it to 0. But instead of setting it to 0, I will just go in and change the right to auto, and then the left will be -30 because the padding here is 30, so make it -30. Oops, I think it should be 0. Let's see. Yeah, 0. Okay, so but that goes into this, it goes into the number, the year. So what I'm going to do is to just reduce the width. The width was 100, we could just make it 30. Yeah, so okay, I think that is a better way to do it, instead of removing the timeline completely. Alright, so let's see, save and see, check it out on the front end and see how that looks. So this works well, good. And by the time we come all the way here, it still works great. Then by the time we come all the way here, we have that still nice looking timeline. Even at a small screen, it works perfectly. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about this, and let me know if you'd like to continue having this Can I Build series. If you want to watch another one of my Can I Build series, take a look at this tabs design that I attempted to recreate, where the tab element changes to normal cards on mobile. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.